Yeah, I was about to say, you're probably Tommy Boy guy.
I think it's one of the best movies I've ever. The Hangover, Tommy Boy, 40-year-old virgin.
Yeah.
I thought because you know why most comedies and Saturday Night Live's been guilty of this through the years. Will Ferrell, who I love, has been guilty. The story arc. You got a beginning and an end, and then there's 39 minutes that are just garbage in the middle. When you were doing Tommy Boy.
We try to make our movies 39 minutes.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice?
It's easier.
Did you know this is really funny? Like, this is going to work.
No way. We were, I mean, Farley was killing it on Saturday Night Live at that point. I was doing okay, not great, but Lauren saw us at the office and said, why don't you do something about how these guys are acting? Because, like, I'd walk around and Farley and I were just moping around me, and I'd make fun of him, and he'd laugh.
Right.
And we had sort of a good vibe going, and then they wrote a movie about it, which, thank God, we didn't have to pitch a movie. Now, I'd never been offered a movie at that point. I had to audition and to have a movie greenlit before you even wrote it. They just said, we're doing this summer. And so we were trying to make it good racing up to the start date. Now we have the best opportunity in the world, but we don't even know what we're doing. So they wrote it. And yeah, it was about two guys in Ohio trying to sell brake pads, which isn't a great pitch. So we never would have got it. You know, if I don't even know what the movie's about, I'm like, oh, I guess that was what it was about. So we got closer. Then Fred Wolf came in, one of my buddies, and he was a writer there, and he helped it, and we got it there. And then just being on the set in Toronto, going back and forth Messinel, more stressed about doing that in the show at the same time, and it was freezing in Toronto, and trying to add jokes like fat guy in a little coat was just what he did at the office. And if we go, no one is watching us, you know what I mean? So it's just like, hey, Farles, I'm looking at the stuff. Do you want to do fat guy in a little coat like at work? And he's like, is that funny to people? I go, I think. And then he would sing it, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty funny. And then you just don't know. You're in like a little box, a little vortex, and then grab a clip-on tie and go, maybe if we put a clip on because the scene feels flat, let's try to spice things up. Let's just do what makes us laugh. No one cares about this movie anyway. And
when did you know? When did you know? Like, somebody came up to you and said, this works. Like, the day you knew.
Well, I think when I saw Rough Cut, I was in it, so I couldn't really tell. But actually, I went back. I did this bald joke where I put a bald patch, like a little patch for Dan Aykroyd's scene where the wind blows it back. And we all watched it. We're like, I don't think that's funny enough. And I go, I think I have to go full bald. Like, it's funnier. So I flew all the way back to Toronto for one joke and redid the whole bald cap. It took 6 hours. But you look back, forget the work. It was a funny joke. Just one bit.
Yes.
But it's worth it. Way worth it. So all cut together, I'm like, I think this is pretty funny, but I think I like myself too much because let's see what anyone else thinks. And Farley is always just so mesmerizing. So I knew he was very likable, and it played into all his fun stuff. And then we did a screening, and then it tested well, which still means nothing.
Yeah.
And then
Seinfeld didn't test
They talked
well.
about doing another one for the following summer before it came out, and that was a good sign. And then
boom.
And then yeah, it came out, and it did not even blow up. It wasn't a $100 million movie. It made 35, and it just had a cult thing after that. You know,
Yeah.
like it got better and better, more and more.
Anchorman didn't hit initially.
Exactly.
Anchorman didn't hit initially.
Exactly. There's movies that you do that just have 10 years later, you can kind of look back to see if anybody remembers.